welcome. Oh, I love it when people are on time. Come on in the room. Welcome. Okay, so I am quickly gonna make that we're live on YouTube. I want to make sure. So we're supposed to be live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Just want to make sure that we are live everywhere we are supposed to be live on. Before I get started, yes, I see us. Let's see. One more. Let me share this. What are we happening? Come on. Thank you so much. I hope that you had, for being on time, I hope that you had a wonderful week and that you are looking forward to this discussion this evening. I know that I am. I am definitely ready for this discussion tonight. We have a wonderful speaker. I'm super excited. I'm super excited. So I'll tell you all about her in a second. Let's see what is happening. Okay, I'm gonna assume that all the things are doing what they need to do, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's see. Okay. Hi, Journey to Generational Wealth Gang. I am financial coach Laura, and I am the owner of Journey to Generational Wealth. I empower professional women of color to achieve their financial goals, financial stability, and security, and begin their journey to generational wealth through financial coaching and personalized financial strategies. So April was Financial Literacy Month. And for those who are not aware, financial literacy refers to the knowledge and skills necessary to make informed financial decisions. Welcome to Journey to Generational Wealth's Financial Literacy Live series. This past month, I have had the honor and privilege of collaborating with some amazing professional women of color in the finance industry. And so we have talked about discussions like increasing your credit score, life insurance and why it's a necessity, bookkeeping, what entrepreneurs need to know. And last Friday, we discussed building wealth through real estate investing. And tonight, we are discussing taxes, what everyone needs to know. So allow me to introduce my special guest. Let me bring her to the floor. Hello. This is Mrs. LaShai Campbell. She is a child of God, a wife, a dog mom, a sister, a friend, a philanthropist, and a serial entrepreneur. I love it. Okay, she is an eloquent and passionate speaker and author with an incomparable ability to connect to people from all walks of life. She is caring, encouraging, and anointed to love, share, and educate. And that's literally not just what her copyright person wrote. Like, genuinely who she is. I have physically met her in person, spent like almost a week with her. That is who she is. Honestly, honest to God, it is. Her mission is to restore relationships to God, primarily in the areas of finances. In 2017, LaShai co-founded Restoring the Breach Incorporated, a 501c3 organization which provides educational, wellness, and outreach programming in order to improve the lives of residents, youth, and college students at Bullock County, Georgia community. I'm assuming that's community college. In 2019, it's in the community. Okay, perfect. So sorry. In 2019, LaShai co-founded LaShai Ed, which stands for Love, Educate, Serve, Educate, Financial and Business Solutions, a SBA certified financial services company which specializes in business formation, tax preparation, and bookkeeping for clients internationally. So not just domestically, but she's doing the whole world. LaShai serves as president of Tithe Life Co., a community which encourages the biblical principle of tithing through podcasts, books, and live events. When I tell you that this woman does all the things, she literally Like you just heard, she does it all, literally all of it. LaShai resides in Southeast Georgia with her husband, Philip, and assistant principal, and their cute and energetic dog, Boogie. Welcome.
Boogie.
Welcome. Oh my God.
Thank you so much. My faith figure sister.
Yes. Please show them your jacket. Show them your jacket. So we met at a conference last year that is called Faith Figures, and it is women doing business God's way. And when I say that we met and we connected, and you would have thought that we, like, literally at the end of the first day, you would have thought that we knew each other for like years.
For a long time.
Yes. And I mean, got into the, like, went through business, talked about business, got into the nitty gritty of one another's lives, and like ended up praying, having a prayer circle, the whole nine, like totally best friends for like life. So yes, I'm so super excited to have you here. We talked about doing this last year when, like I said, when we first met, we were like, oh, we're gonna have to collaborate on something. And so I'm so glad that I was finally able to get into this busy woman schedule for us to be able to.
You're busy too.
I am. But again, I'm trying to be like you when I grow up and be able to do literally all the things. I'm just saying.
Hey, Lynetta. I saw her comment.
Yes, we are one of our other friends. We see her. Thank you. Hello, Samuel. I appreciate it. Okay. So let me get into, I'm super excited about having her here, obviously. So I'm going to go
excited too.
And jump into okay, good. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the questions. So you guys, if you have any questions, please drop your questions in the chat. I have a list of some questions, but I'm going to be jumping in and out, asking the questions that you all have, as well as these questions. So we are going to jump right into things. Okay, so we know that tax season has, or not tax season, we know that the tax due date has recently passed on April the 15th. And some people may have chosen to do an extension. And my question for you is what are the pros and cons of filing an extension?
So I want to say thank you too and I will answer the question because I'm so excited as well. And I just thank you so much, like, for this opportunity. There's we talked about it. There's so much room for everyone in the financial space. Like there's enough money for everybody. We can definitely collaborate, especially as sisters and as Black women. So I just love that. So yes, the individual tax filing due date was April 15th. If you did not file by April 15th, you are allowed to submit an extension. And that extension should have been submitted before April 15th. That allows you 6 more months to actually file your taxes. So the pros with being able to have an additional 6 months to file, you have some more time to find your documents, look for extra deductions. Actually, for some clients that I have, continue to separate their business and personal finances and their bank statements, because I know that Laura, and that you encourage people to do the same thing. Separate the business and the personal expenses so it's easier at tax time.
Yes.
But some people are still working through that. So they have to comb through their very long bank statements to get through what their business expenses actually were. So it gives you more time. But the con is, if you actually owe taxes, your taxes are due. Your individual taxes are due by April 15th. So this is giving you an extension to file. This is not giving you an extension to pay. The IRS wanted their money by April 15th. So what you should be doing if you did file an extension is to make sure that you're not owing when you actually do file by that now deadline of October 15th.
Okay.
Because again, that those taxes due are going to be applied to April. So that's when that interest is going to start on the
Okay.
April date. And the IRS, they compound their interest daily. So
Ooh,
one that is one entity that you do not
that you do not
want
want to play
to
with.
own, because
Not at
you're continuing to pay, and you're playing catch up with that payment. So you want to
yes.
be mindful of that.
Okay, excellent. And I love the fact that you highlighted the fact that um, you still have to pay if you owe, you have to pay by the 15th. The extension is just for you to get your paperwork in, not for you to get your money in. As well as the
Correct.
fact that there's interest, compounding daily interest for if you choose not to, or well, it's just got to be a choice. So if you choose not to pay by that point in time, then it's going to cost you more than it would have had you actually paid by that date. Okay.
Right.
For those that have filed an extension, what are some things that they need to keep in mind? So, of course, you've already talked about the fact that, hey, you needed to have already paid. And if you haven't, then you have, some pay now versus waiting till October the 15th, because it's less interest that you're paying as of the 3rd of May than it would be
Right.
at that point in time. But what are some other things that they need to keep in mind?
If you have any indication at all, if you've already started maybe estimation of what you may owe, start to get ahead on that. You don't want to continue to let it linger or give it more time. Again, let that interest continue to pile up. You want to really, really get ahead on what you owe. So don't wait until October 15th to actually get that in. If you're had already started gathering documents between January and April, and you had a few more, go ahead and get that done over the summer. Don't wait till the fall to get that done. And again, if you have any sort of estimation, start paying estimated taxes. You are allowed to pay those quarterly. So just to get ahead, if you already know what either your business taxes or your personal taxes, if you already have some kind of estimation of, hey, I know how this is going, I've made a lot of money, I didn't have many deductions, I was really taking this money for myself and not kind of reinvesting it into the business, you
Right.
may have some taxes on that. So just to be mindful to, hey, do you have any opportunity for estimated taxes?
Okay.
What deductions truly, again, are you needing to look for? And let's hurry up and get those done and not waste any more time.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. So you talked about estimated taxes. Is there an easy, or maybe not easy, but a quick way that you could mention for entrepreneurs or even people who are not entrepreneurs to be able to calculate what that estimated tax amount might be?
So the best way to calculate what your estimated taxes would be, your income, let's say over the 3 months, because like I said, you can pay estimated taxes quarterly. So if you take
Okay.
your income over 3 months, if
Mhm.
you have any, again, knowing what your expenses were for this 3 months, you can also get what your profit would be. Then applying a tax rate. So I generally tell clients anywhere between 25 to 30%
Mhm.
of what your profit may be from that 3-month quarter, and go ahead and pay that in estimated taxes. Now,
Okay.
again, just like if this is for business, it applies the same as individually. Whereas if you pay your estimated taxes as if you paid individually into, your W-2, if there's an overage, that you will receive that back in your individual tax return. So if it's too much, you'll receive it back. If you pay just the right amount, hey, you're at zero. You don't owe them. They don't have to apply a refund to you, and it just
Right.
evens itself out. If you don't pay enough, then you have to pay again. So you
Okay.
want to make sure you're at a good set amount. So like I said, a recommendation about 25 to 30%.
Okay. Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay. Um, so this is my next question. I know that a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's tax season because January 1st has arrived," or they're like, "Oh, tax season doesn't start until February 1st because they are supposed to be, they're supposed to get you your documents out by like January the 31st."
First.
When is true tax season?
True tax season is about January 1st. Well, I'm just gonna say the prior year. The whole prior year is your tax season.
Yes,
So
yes.
we filed taxes individually. Individual taxes were due this year, April 15th,
Mhm.
2024. But remember, it is accounted for everything that happened from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023.
Right.
So everything that happens in between is what you are being taxed on. So I say almost the whole year is tax year. But as far as for me with filing taxes, I file taxes. Like you said, those documents, most of your documents, your W-2s, your K-1s, 1099 should all be received by an individual by January 31st, right? That doesn't always happen.
Right.
Then business taxes, if you have an S corp, your taxes are due March 15th, right? So then you can file extensions on your business taxes just as you can file extension on your personal taxes. So
Okay.
I'm actually probably filing taxes between February 1st and Thanksgiving because that's when the IRS actually cuts off their filing submissions, their e-filing submissions, in order to get ready for the upcoming tax season
For the
starting
next year.
in January. Right.
Okay.
So I'm filing taxes
All
all
year.
year.
Yes. Okay. So I want to reiterate what you said. We're in tax season. Like it's after April the 15th. And it's now May the 3rd, and we are presently in tax season. So,
Correct.
with that being said, what are some things that people should be doing to prepare for tax time, like all throughout the year? And that is, be it an individual who does not own a business or an entrepreneur. What are some things that people should be doing kind of throughout the year to be prepared?
Definitely, as I mentioned earlier, if you have a business, please separate your business and your personal income and expenses. Make sure you have, and I know you're coaching the people correctly, Laura, to have their own business bank account. So that
Yes.
way it is clean, it's clear. That's step number one. Step number two, I'm a big advocate of QuickBooks. Have some kind, if you don't have QuickBooks, get some kind of bookkeeping system. If it's paper and pencil and your journal or calendar every single month, if it is a spreadsheet, an Excel or Google Sheets, like either one, or if you have a software system, QuickBooks, FreshBooks, it makes sure that you are keeping up and allocating what your expenses were. Make sure that you're classifying them. It makes it easier for you as well as easier for your tax professional once they start filing your taxes. Like, make sure, hey, if we're paying for Restream, make sure it's allocated with software. If we're paying accounting services, make sure it's classified with the accounting services or professional services. If you're paying for travel, if we're paying for the Faith Figures Conference, let's make sure we have our travel allocated. If that's our hotel, if that's our ride share, if that is our flight, like let's make sure that we have these things designated in a certain way and classified in a certain way so that when it's time to file the taxes, we know what the expenses were for. We do not have to question, is this a personal expense or was this a business expense?
Right.
Because remember, too, for any entrepreneurs, business owners, that the IRS looks at us more, will scrutinize us more, because we, just for the simple fact that we have a business. So
Right.
is your business, truly allocating what its expenses are, or are you trying to skip somewhere? Was this really, your mortgage for your house, or is it really meals for you and your friends? Like,
Right.
they are really looking at our tax returns with a fine tooth comb. So make sure that those business expenses are separated. So the best way is to make sure that you're keeping up with your records. Also, with for just individuals, and I saw Antonia. Hey, Antonia, make sure that you're keeping up with what your taxable deductions are. Make sure you're keeping your records as they come in. If they're coming in through the mail, if they're coming in through email. I received my mortgage interest statement. That's a 1098. That's deductible on your tax return. I received that in the mail. I also received that by email, but I keep the one I keep the one that came through the mail, just so I make sure I don't forget it when I start filing my own. As well as property taxes. You get your property tax statement. Keep that. I am, as you said, a big, huge advocate of tithing. Keep your tithing statements. Keep your tithing statements. If your church does not give you a tithing statement, make sure you're keeping good records of that. If it's on your bank statement, if it's in your checkbook, those are charitable contributions. Charitable contributions are allowable up to 50% of your adjusted gross income. So do not skip with the giving. We are a giving
Yes.
people, a giving society. So
Yes.
make sure you are giving. If you're not tithing, contribute to local 501c3 organizations. Again, those contributions are tax deductible.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay. For those that itemize, what are some generally unknown deductions that maybe we should be considering that we might not be because they're not generally known?
And I know, like I said, last time tithe, but that's that's still my big one. Also, as I mentioned, if anything with your home, like most, not everything with your home. Now, let me get that clear. Not everything with your home.
Okay.
Um, as I mentioned, mortgage interest. I mentioned property taxes. If you're doing any actual upgrades to your home that are energy efficient, they have, like I said, not everything, things that are energy efficient, those are also, there's a credit, a residential energy credit for renovations of your home that are energy efficient. So look into that. We got a whole new air conditioner. It gets hot in Georgia. It gets hot. It
I
gets hot
know
down
Georgia. Yeah, Georgia and Texas are kind of they're kind of on
here.
the same wavelength as
Yes,
to
yes.
what's happening. So I get you.
So it gets hot down here. So it was a great, it was a needed
Yes,
investment, but it
investment. Yes.
also it also definitely helped on the tax return. But energy efficient windows, doors. If you decide to do solar, I was talking to my cousin today. She lives in California, and she was considering solar for her home. Those things are deductible, and we generally don't think about that. It's just, oh, hey, I have this large expense, and you know, hey, I have to get it. So you sometimes think nothing of it, but those things for your home um,
Mhm.
are also deductible. Any medical expenses, um, and that is, and when I say medical expenses, I mean all medical expenses. So not just your doctor's visits and your copays, your FSA, your HSA. I wear glasses. I go to therapy. those are medical expenses, as well as your mileage for your medical expenses. If you're driving to go to your therapist, if you're driving to the urgent care, if you're driving to go get glasses, like those, that mileage is deductible. So do not leave that out, especially if you have a lot of appointments that you're going to. um,
Mhm.
I know, Laura, you have a young child. Like if she has, multiple doctor's appointments, each time you go to the doctor, right? It took me this many miles to get over there. Like make sure, you're making a note of that. For the business owners and the business deductions, I am, it is so many, and that's why there's such a benefit to actually having a business, because literally everything that you do with your business is deductible. If it's for your business, it's deductible. One thing, as we talked about with those medical miles, just the general miles for business, the IRS has continued to go up on their mileage deduction for consistently since COVID. Just
Yeah.
last year, it was 65 and a half cents. For 2024, it's 67. They are consistently going up on the mileage deduction. So if you are going to the post office for your for your business, if you're going in any kind of business expense, I also a little bit under my business, I do a little notary stuff. So that is my my mileage bread
Yes,
and butter, going to go do my
I know
notary work.
it is. Yes. See, I
So
told
make
y'all she does all the things. She didn't even talk about. We didn't even talk about notary in her
that's
bio.
it's a little extra. It's my little extra. It's just a little extra. But I saw Lynetta's question. Can you write off anything with your card for business? Yes. If like I said, your mileage, if it's your gas, if it's your repairs, tires, major repairs. If you are using your car for business, the percentage that you're using your car for business is going to be the percentage that those expenses are able to be deducted. So if you have your own separate car for business, then that's 100%. But if you're using the same personal vehicle that you're also using for business, the IRS is going to take a percentage of what your actual business mileage is and the total mileage of your car.
Excellent. Thank you for catching that. It was also a great comment by Antoinette, which was yes, tithing is a must, and I completely and totally agree. So I will take a moment to say, and this is not me preaching to anyone, so I'm gonna look off into the
No,
sides.
say it. Say it. Look in the
No one
camera.
feels like I'm looking directly at them, but I promise you that if you give, you have 100%. If you give God his 10, that 90%, he's going to make it stretch farther than the original 100 that you ever had. I've
That's
experienced
right.
it in my life on more than one occasion. So just have
Do
10%.
it.
Yeah,
Do
just
it.
do it. It's
Just
in
do
your
it.
best
Like,
interest.
just
Like,
do it.
legitimately, it's in your best interest. It honestly is. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts.
Mm-mm.
Okay, excellent. Let's keep going. Continue to put your questions in the chat, please. Thank you so much. For those, oh, okay, I already asked that one. What are some things that small business owners should be doing throughout the year to best prepare themselves for tax time?
Bookkeep. Bookkeep. And I know I feel like I've like glazed, like answered like with different ways, or already like started getting in your business in the question with my answers.
No,
But
no, no, get in there.
bookkeep, bookkeep, keep those books, keep them clean, keep them in a orderly, scheduled manner. Like it's very difficult for a lot of people to get to the end of the year, and now I want to clean up everything. I have to go back to remember where did I spend this money? What did I spend this money for? Especially when you're when you go through your bank statements and you're doing it, and it may not give all the information that you're looking for because it's not detailed, like because you may or may not have kept the receipt. So you're just like, oh, I know I swiped my business card for this, but I can't tell you because it has a bunch of different letters and numbers. It doesn't have the location. It doesn't have the address. It's just, I spent $5.35. What did I spend it for? And it's hard to remember in
Right.
December,
Right.
or what you did in January. That was 12 months ago, 11 months
Yes.
ago. Sometimes
Yes.
it's hard enough for some of us. What did we do last week? What did we have for
Hello.
dinner last night?
Hello.
So you want to ask me what I did in January? Like, just keep it together. And I do have clients like right now, like, hey, just file the extension for me. Just being honest, file the extension for me, and then let's talk in September and let's try to clean up stuff from January for December to last year. Like, we have to do better.
You realize you also have to be working on this year's stuff while you're still working on last year's stuff. Like, make it easier for yourself.
Right.
I'm stressed for your clients because I'm so stressed for me.
But I'm like, can we like maybe this year, like this won't be the year that we have to do an extension? Like maybe so, and it's not. and it's not, but it's okay. It's okay
We're gonna keep praying about it. We're gonna keep hoping and praying.
We're gonna keep it at the altar. We're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep praying over it. But yes, keep those books and keep them clean and do it monthly if you can. If you can, do it monthly, but try not to go longer than quarterly. Because once you get past quarterly, then you're going to want to go to annually, and you don't want to do that annually. This comment, went to Hobby Lobby or Walmart for an event and forgot which client it was for, and 7 months later asking myself deep questions. Yes. It happens exactly like that. So if we can at least take a day out of the month and just, hey, let me go through all of my spending and make sure I have this allocated correctly. Let's go ahead and do that. I think I see another question.
Yeah. So I do have a question. What, if any, tax breaks do you know of for homeschooling families? Are we able to write off any of the courses or materials?
So in order to do that, if it were, yes, I see your next question, which exactly that was my answer. If it were a business, could we write off the course? Yes. So that's the best way you're going to be able to do that, is to go ahead and put the homeschooling aspect of your life into a business. And then that way you're able to write off those courses and materials, because you got to think about it. If your child was in regular public school and they got a book, would that be deductible? The answer would be no. So it's very similar to, hey, if the homeschool aspect, LLC or S Corp, what type, doesn't matter. That's also a great question. So with an LLC, and making sure everyone has a great understanding of this. Once you file your LLC with the state, whatever state you may live in, and get a EIN number for that classifies your LLC as a single member LLC until you file it as an S Corp. So as a single member LLC, that LLC is placed on your individual tax return on a Schedule C. Okay, until you actually file as an S Corp. Now, depending upon the level of, I try to generalize this with income, your income level. Now, with your S Corp, you're going to be generally making a more of a significant amount of money with an S Corp. And you're also, with people who have S Corps, will generally put themselves on W-2s as owners. That way it's not a W-2 and your LLC
Right.
on your individual tax return. You actually have a separate with that S corp tax return from your individual. That S corp return produces, as an owner, any owners in the business, produces a form called a K1. Which is similar to a W-2 or a 1099. It's your responsibility for either the profit or loss in that business. So if you are just going to homeschool your child, I would recommend that LLC. But if you are thinking about, hey, let me homeschool other children and actually expand this business a little bit more, because one, you don't want to just have the business just to write off expenses. You also want to have the business to be having income or generating income as well. So I would recommend to you having the LLC if you're just going to do that with your child. But if you're going to go ahead and expand and make that larger, then I would recommend S corp.
Okay, and so you mentioned, thank you for going in depth with that. That was really, really helpful. Okay, so I do want to note that she said it would be between 1 to 3 children at a time. Does that really make a difference? Because you said a larger amount. If you were going to do multiple,
Oh no!
if you
Oh,
want to do
that's
a
all her
lot.
thing. She said sorry for questions, but no, it's fine. We wanted questions. It we can talk maybe offline to see like, hey, what would you be charging? What kind of profit are you looking for to decide, hey, but if you should maybe flow to an S corp, but definitely get the LLC started first.
So my question was going to be, you mentioned that if the business is making a substantial amount of money, so that word is subjective. What is
That's true.
what is
That's
substantial
true.
to take it from an LLC to an S corp?
So how I look at substantial is the actual now profit that you're gonna be bringing in, not necessarily just the revenue, but the
Revenue.
revenue minus the expenses, the actual profit, because there's
Right.
something called the self-employment tax.
Right.
Yes, so that self-employment tax is going to include all is going to be taxed on all to most of the revenue, not just the profit. So
Right.
the profit is allowed it flows through better to just only be taxed on the profit or just have the loss instead of everything line by line on an individual tax return. So put that on a 1120S, which is that S corp tax return.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Keep dropping the questions in the chat. This is wonderful information. So, what else should we know about taxes and the preparation process that your average person doesn't know? And actually, before I have you answer that question, I want to jump back to something that you said previously about your books. So, one of the things that I would love to highlight, especially for entrepreneurs that have a bookkeeper, they only have the information that you provide them. And so if you, to LaShai's point, like if you have, well, I'm just going to send you all of my bank statements and, I'm going to send you the receipts that I have or whatever the case may be. If you don't know, they don't know. So, the better the information is that you provide them with, the more that they're going to be able to do to assist you while they're preparing your taxes, so on and so forth. So they don't know generally what they don't know. And if you don't know it, they're obviously not going to know. And if you don't provide them with it, if you have an excellent tax preparer like LaShai, then she might delve into it and ask you a couple of additional questions. But if you have a standard run of the mill, or if you're, and this is even if you are an individual and not a business owner, if you're just taking your stuff over to, H&R Block.
H&R Block, they're not asking you anything.
Yep,
they're taking exactly here it is and there it is.
The way that you provide it, and they're just going to submit it the way that it is, and that's going to be the end of that. So it really is advantageous for you to like make notes, keep your own things. Like I with my business credit card, when it comes into the mail, I literally am going line for line, and I'm like, this was for that, this was for that, this was for this client, this was da 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 da. I literally write it out line for line because the Lord is working to improve my memory. That's these are positive statements. The Lord is working to improve my memory. I am believing that, I'm speaking it, and I'm believing it, and it eventually will come true. It will come into fruition. So it's better that you like make the notes for it. And I know that, so the previous one of our previous calls, when we were talking about bookkeeping, the person was like, oh, but it's so hard to keep up with receipts. Take a picture of your receipt. Like create a file in your email that you call taxes. Take a picture of the receipt, email it to there, and then swipe it over into the tax file. So that way you at least know. And even if it is, you know, an odd receipt, or if it's a place where you don't often go, or maybe you had, you know, business lunch, write down the people who you went to lunch with. You know, write down, if, you know, maybe write down what the topic of discussion was, or something to the effect, something that will jog your memory. So when you are going through the bookkeeping process, and when you are going through the tax preparation process, you have some notes that will help you jog your memory about what it is. Or when that, you know, credit card bill comes in, or statement comes in, and you're like, what was that? What did we do? Who is this for? Why is this amount what it is? So yeah, that's just something that will potentially help you out. But I wanted to take a note with that. So back to my question. What should we know? What else should we know about taxes in the preparation process that we haven't already discussed?
I was gonna say, because I feel like I wasn't done with your point. I was like, that's good. Like let's continue.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Because it's so important. Like literally, your bookkeeping is what produces your taxes. So it's literally the first step. Like you really can't do any taxes for a business if you have no bookkeeping. Right. Like it's, you know, any tax professional is gonna ask, or hopefully ask, you know, at least, hey, did you have any expenses? And going into your question too, because I'm gonna like, I'm gonna dip and dive, but get a tax professional who cares about you and cares about your financial well-being.
Yeah.
For me, if I see that you owe, my next question is, hey, do we have anything else? Was there anything else that you did? Let's look at it one more time. For most people, they have it's some kind of responsibility. If it's their family, if it's I'm a dog mom, if it's their dog, if it's their pet, if it's their household bills, there is probably, I can bet on it, that is something that you could probably better spend your money on than giving it to the IRS. Yes. So let me assist you in, hey, let's find it again. Let's look through it again, because I care about your financial well-being, honestly and truly, as a servant to you, not just as someone who is doing a transaction with you and then that's it. Like, no, like it's most
that's
people
the love, serve, educate.
That's the love, serve,
educate. The love, serve, educate. See
you see it. That's how it works. That's how it truly works. Like, I want you to be your best financial self. So in that, hey, I may check on you during the year to say, hey, how's the bookkeeping going? And again, as I mentioned about different softwares, one service that we do provide is bookkeeping. So, and I do that mainly through QuickBooks. You can add your accountant to your QuickBooks log, so they can see monthly, daily, as often as they want to, what's going on. So then that way they can, if you get to a point where it's so overwhelming, because there's so many people that, hey, I'm not a financial professional. I'm a creative and I just
Right.
want to create. I don't want to worry about my bookkeeping. I don't want to worry about my taxes. I just want to create, or I just want to do hair, or I just want to run my business. This is not my lane. God has given us all different gifts and
Yes.
talents. And my money may not be my talent, but hey, sis, hey, Laura, hey, LaShai, hey, can you help me in this financial piece?
Right. Right.
So I'm able to have my peace of mind to do what I need to do and create in my talent and flow in my gift, because finance is just numbers. Just I hear that numbers. I'm just not good with numbers. Numbers just aren't my thing.
Right.
Like that's and
Right.
that's cool. That's cool because everything hair is not my thing. I
It looks lovely though. You
it's
it
not.
looks lovely.
But I had to get somebody else. I'm still trying to learn the cornrow. I still just being
You got
honest.
some time.
But,
You got some time. It'll come to you. It'll come to you.
but I can do the numbers I can do the numbers for you all
There
day.
you go.
But
You
that's
can
it.
always
We
hire
just
someone to do cornrowing as well. So don't feel any kind of way. Braiders are all over the place. I'm sure there are tons in Georgia. So yes, you don't have to worry
yes.
about that part.
But that's how the collaboration works. If you're, even a new entrepreneur, like Wealth Awakening, you're just, considering starting your LLC. Like, hey, in the event, hey, numbers may not be my thing, or actually filing may not be my thing, but I can homeschool your child. So if you have that accountant that's next door that needs that homeschool child,
Yes,
and you can homeschool their child and they can, take care of books
yes.
and things for you, that
It's a
just helps
great
the bartering
collaboration.
system works.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's an excellent
Exactly.
collaboration.
As so
I have a
as far as
two-year-old. She can start pre-K. I'm just putting it out there.
there we
Ding.
go. There, done and done. But definitely, if you are if you're a business owner, start and keep up with that bookkeeping. As an individual, as we know, over a lifetime we will continue to make more money.
Mm,
So we didn't make the same amount of money that we did 5 years ago. We didn't make the same amount of money that we did 10 years ago. So managing that money, making sure you have a tax plan, in addition to just filing your taxes, is also important. How much should you be contributing to your retirement accounts to make sure that is not as, that you're receiving the deduction for your retirement contributions. If you are, again, like we talked about, charitable contributions and tithing, like what's going to be reducing your personal tax liability? Are
yeah,
you looking into that? Make sure you're doing that as well.
yeah.
But on the business side or on the personal side, just make sure you have a good quality tax professional who cares about you and cares about your financial well-being.
And if you're looking for one, LaShai's information is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. She can be located at loveserveeducate.com or on Instagram at loveserveeducate. And that's what the LoSay Ed financial and business services, that's what the LoSay Ed part stands for, is the first two letters of love, serve, and educate.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I remember. Okay, so when we went through your bio, you co-founded a nonprofit organization, and I know that you're huge in the nonprofit space. And so and you're also a business owner. So this is a question that I have for you. So I own a business, and I founded a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any conflict of interest for my nonprofit to be the main organization that I contribute to? Like perhaps I contribute to multiple nonprofit organizations, but the bulk of it is to the one that I've founded. Can you talk about that any?
Sure. And because, like you said, real quick, the journey to business, to this financial business, was the nonprofit
Right.
first.
Right.
And because I didn't know, or I had no initial plans to own. Even, first of all, I didn't even have the have the know that I would be owning a nonprofit. And then after the nonprofit, I didn't know that it would be another business after that. But with the nonprofit, I started to receive questions like, hey, how do you take care of your nonprofit bookkeeping? How do you file nonprofit taxes? How do you how do you start a nonprofit? How do you fill out a form 1023 to get the 501c3 status? So that had implications of its own, which has led me to start this business. To initially, it was, hey, I'm helping nonprofits, I'm helping my family do taxes, and then it has taken on a life of its own.
Yes.
Right.
God did
But
the exceedingly and the abundantly. And
abundantly,
yes.
Ephesians 3:20 just
Hello.
is here. With just like a for-profit business, and keeping those books, documents clean, records clean. That's the same way that you have to operate with your nonprofit. So having your bylaws, having your board of directors, having your bookkeeping for your nonprofit. And it's even more important because you don't just have the IRS reviewing your nonprofit bookkeeping and expenses. You have grant providers. Like, they
Right.
want to
Right.
see
Right.
if I'm donating money to your business, what how is the business
Right.
spending money, who's donating to the money. So they even want to see who the donors are,
Right.
who the major donors are. So it's not an issue that it's yourself, but it's an issue if you're not keeping it clean.
Right.
So make sure too that you're keeping it clean. I can say, hey, I'm a major, I wouldn't start, and I don't recommend anybody to start a nonprofit if you're not willing to put any skin in the game.
Right.
Just that's just being real. Like,
Right.
you're
Right.
going to have to put some money into it. And generally, because you may not sell as many products, or make as actually generate as much income as you could with a for-profit business. You're just
Right.
you're generating in a different way. But you're also having to collect donations, and yes, you're gonna be a major donor.
Okay.
Just there's that's not a that's you're not gonna get around that.
Right.
But
Right.
no, that's not a conflict of interest
Okay.
for
Good
you
to
to donate to your nonprofit. Just make sure, as I said, that the nonprofit has the records to say Laura donated this to this month, this time. So because you should also, as a nonprofit, like I said about the church and your tithes, you should be receiving a statement. So
Right.
your nonprofit should also be producing statements to give to donors, including yourself,
Okay.
to say record that you donated this amount of money to the nonprofit. And we can follow the paper trail to see with your nonprofit bank statement, because it also has its own business bank statement, to see where money came in from you to the nonprofit.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. That's wonderful. Do we have any other questions in the chat? I feel like this has been an amazing conversation. I feel like you have given us such a wealth of information, and I'm so grateful. So, can you take a moment, because like you and I said at the beginning, collaboration over competition. So can you take a moment and tell us exactly what services you provide within LaShai Ed Financial and Business Solutions, because someone that's viewing now or that may be watching the replay might actually need your services.
Absolutely. But even before that, I want to normalize Black wealth. You all get your shirts from journey to generational
Yes,
wealth.com. You all get and support Laura's products
yes,
because we
yes.
are
I appreciate it.
normalizing Black wealth.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes,
Please
yes.
normalize. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
But you can definitely find out more information about low seed financial and business solutions from our website, as Laura mentioned, loveserveeducate.com. That is our primary goal for all of our clients. I cannot truly serve you or educate you if I don't love you first, as a person, as a child of God. Okay. We offer formation services, that is businesses and nonprofit formations, taxes, individual business, nonprofit taxes, as well as bookkeeping. My minor services include, like I mentioned earlier, some notary, some mobile notary work. I
So if
do.
you're in the Georgia area, she's not going
Yes,
outside
yes,
of a
yes.
close proximity.
Yes, but if you're, Southeast Georgia and you need a mobile notary, definitely contact me. And if you're interested, like it's some easy money in that. Like it's some easy, very easy money, not real not a whole lot of requirements either. If you're 18 years old, and for our state, if you got $43, you can be a notary.
Hey,
So hey, but yes. So definitely contact me if you have any questions or concerns. If you enjoyed the live, like, please let us know. Follow Laura. If you need any financial coaching, financial management assistance, Laura is all things financial literacy. So go and contact my faith figure sister as well.
thank
Talk to
you,
us
thank you, thank you.
both.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. I appreciate that. I love this. Antoinette, she
Thank
definitely
you,
is. She
Antonia.
definitely is an encyclopedia of financial knowledge. She literally is like rattling off tax form numbers like the alphabet. I was highly impressed. I was super highly impressed. I'm like, okay, let me keep up. Let me keep up. Okay, I've heard of that one. I've seen that one. I know what that one is. Okay, I can do this. I can do this. Literally for a minute, I was like, it was kind of like double dutch. Like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to jump in. Like, yes, I love it. She definitely is a wealth of knowledge. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to, to collaborate with you and to have you come on. I have genuinely been just elated by all of the women that I have had the opportunity to collaborate with over the course of April and now going into May. Because it's important, like representation matters. And everyone has been a woman of color, has been a woman and then a woman of color. And those are things that are extremely important to me. To show that like we know about finances, and if you're someone who doesn't know about finances, find someone who does. This is
Absolutely.
not a this is not, we're not taboo, we're not unicorns, we're trying to become the norm.
Yes.
We may not be presently the norm, but we're certainly trying to become the norm. um
Yes.
oh, love it. I love this. Hold on, we have another comment. Oh,
Thank you, Wealth Awakening.
yes. Yeah, she was the real thing. I love it. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, LaShai, I sincerely appreciate you. If we don't have any more questions coming through the comments, then we are going to call it a night. Thank you so much. Please definitely make sure that you follow LaShai on at Love Serve Educate on Instagram. If you don't already follow her, she has a wealth of information. Like I said, if you need to know literally anything about taxes, she is your person. So otherwise, thank you all, and everyone have a good night. Bye
Good night.
bye.